Absolutely. So, the moments we've all been waiting for, right?
Drum roll.
Drum roll, please. So, the moments that we have all been waiting for, our dynamic speakers, they are sitting on ready, they are loaded, they have been anticipating this day as well. So, without further ado, we are going to go ahead and introduce the phenomenal Papa Co, and we're going to bring him on stage for you all.
Yes. So our first speaker for today is Papa Co Bartels. Hello, Papa Co, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay. Just doing a quick check-in. So
Yes.
before Papa Co starts his presentation, I am going to give a brief bio of who we are dealing with today, the great Papa Co Bartels. So, yes. So, as seen on the screen, welcome once again. Welcome, Papa Co Bartels. Currently, he's a trade and investment consultant in Ghana and the UK. However, Papa Co Bartels is trained as a scientist with varied work and development pathways, traversing the fields of diplomacy, trade and investment, small business enablement, food, science, technology, and agri-business. He is also an experienced enterprise development strategist with over 36 years of diverse work experience. He has had collaborative engagements with international organizations like FAO, ILO, WTO, UNEP, and more, and several Ghanaian institutions. He has had years of experience in donor-funded projects and programs and has served at several boards, advisory boards, and steering committees in Ghana and in the UK. His special passion is to drive expertise development through sustainable growth approaches for SMEs to global value chains. He's extensively traveled, a counselor, and an ardent sports enthusiast. Welcome, Papa Co Bartels.
Thank you very much, Lady Dadzi. Yes, I'm just going to do, it's unfortunate, I have a challenge with my video, or not the video per se, but the camera. But I'm going to share my slides and then speak to them. So you've done a good introduction of me. So I would okay, so I think you are sharing, can you take what you are sharing off? And let me actually do it directly from here. Okay, thank you. Yes, okay. Right, Akwaba. And Akwaba simply means welcome. If you're a Ghanaian, you definitely know that. So I have already been introduced, so I don't need to go through that. And I'm going to do a quick and a big presentation. The big presentation is building in Ghana. We'll look at an intro where really is the diaspora, who are they? And then we'll talk about the diaspora and the kind of activities that they engage in and what is the role of the diaspora in economic transformation, whether it's direct in terms of the transformation or direct in terms of policy and economic influences. We'll also look at the real estate sector in Ghana, and these are going to be brief intros, because I am the generalissimo and the real experts would also come in to do their bit of it. And then would look at the impact of the diaspora on the real estate market in Ghana. And then the stand of MoreCribs. MoreCribs as, if you like, the hand-holding expert that will draw you into Ghana if you want to invest and grow in Ghana as far as REM. And REM, simply, I mean the real estate market. And then I'll try to just say something briefly as a concluding comment. So let's start with the intro. I'm sure we've all heard the word diaspora, but really, what is it? Diaspora emerged from the ancient Greek era, and it's from the word diaspero, which simply means to sow over or to scatter about. And the reference to that is actually based on the Hellenic world. And the Hellenic world is the period where the Greeks first initiated democracy, and to the point where Alexander the Great died. And it also refers to the Jewish people when they got dispersed or scattered in the 6th century. I have attempted to put down a definition of what really the diaspora is by saying that the diaspora is a person or a group of persons who have relocated from their country of origin to another country for varied reasons. And I wouldn't go too much into that. And then I have also identified 3 types of diaspora. And these are based on my interaction and observation. So the first type of diaspora that I can speak about is swingers for discovery. Now, these are people who respond to areas and places of new beginnings, new happenings, and quickly move in, back and forth for, from their present place of abode. So if there's some degree of work somewhere else, even though the person is living outside, they quickly move over to the other place to do the necessary, if you like, work, and then get back to their place of abode. So those are the swingers. They move in between various places of abode. And then we have rovers for purpose. They move for a specific agenda, and when completed, they move back. They move on to the next place of purpose. So it's like, even though they're outside, they rove. They move from one place to the other, and then on and on and on. And then we have what I call the in situ dwellers. They are permanently, based in their host country, and they engage in economic activities without moving. And so if you admix all these, the 3 categories that I have outlined there, then you're looking at a healthy blend of actions from these various categories that make the diaspora very key in driving economic activities in their original country from where they come. Now, let's focus on the diaspora a bit. And again, I would also be brief. Now, what is the role of the diaspora in economic transformation? They have 2 kinds, which I have identified: direct economic transformation. And number 1 is remittances, especially when you use the pay angel to remit back home for your businesses and all engagements. Then, you are really directing the economy from a transformational standpoint. And then again, the FDIs, foreign direct investment. Oh, I forgot to say that remittances, especially going through Pay Angel and others, is about 6% of our GDP. And currently it stands at 4.8 billion or thereabout. And that is more than the direct assistance that we get. And then the FDIs that I just spoke about. Again, what the efforts towards economic transformation is to spend directly, as a consumer in the original country where they come from. And then they also do direct investments into capital markets, the direct investment also into the services, industry, and agricultural sectors. And all these with a focus on Ghana. And then they do direct purchases, especially in the real estate business, which we're going to talk about today. And then an emerging, thing that the diaspora is increasingly going into is operation of hotels, recreational facilities, Airbnb, etc., etc. Ghana is really the place to be when you talk about December. There's no place like Ghana when that's why we have the December to remember, and a lot of diasporans come in, and because of that, people are setting up hotels. Diasporans are setting up hotels, recreational facilities, etc., etc., and they are also into startups, supporting startups, and then other entrepreneurial endeavors. Now, the diaspora is also affecting policy directly and then influencing also the economy. And the way they do it is that they interact with development actors and government in shaping out policy and processes. And that they do by introducing what they've gathered in terms of information, data, etc., etc. And then in some cases, they have been lobbyists, where they lobby the country in which they are being hosted in, or in some cases, their home countries in terms of policy making. And then they are also a soft power to promote bilateral relationships. I can cite that of Ghana, and then the UK. We have what we call the TPA, Trade Partnership Agreement, and the diaspora, or if I should use was in this case, because they're collective, very instrumental in crafting the policy. And then they are also involved in trade facilitation, international trade. They act as a catalyst to drive the expansion of the market. And then they have become, if you like, a harbinger of knowledge and skills, especially when it comes to technology and new age stuff. The diaspora is very key in doing that. And then they facilitate business and development cooperation between countries and people and businesses and all that. And then they also provide an effective market linkage. Now, let's look at the real estate sector. There are some things that we can look at. Let's talk about the overview. In 2010, we're looking at a housing deficit of about 2.8 million. And currently, we have been able to scale it down, but it's still surprisingly high. There's a deficit of about 1.8 million, and that would require a lot of investment and effort, especially from the diaspora, to fill this void. According to statistica.com, in 2024, the real estate market in Ghana is expected to witness a significant growth with a projected expectation of the market value to hit a staggering 513.3 billion. Now, if you hear this, then if you are in the diaspora or even in Ghana, you should be looking at that area because that is the fastest area where economic growth is on now. Now, in all that, residential accommodation leads the pack, and we're looking at about 389.1 billion in that direction. It has a huge potential. I've already said that. And because of that potential, we should expect that in the coming years, there would be significant, ascendancy in the real estate market in Ghana. And if the market is expected to maintain the steady and rapid growth that we are projecting, and if that goes on, at least we should expect a minimum growth rate of about 3.5% annually. And if I, as a diasporan or somebody in the diaspora, hear this, then the 1.8 million housing deficit should become a real driver for investing in Ghana. And that is what BIG is all about, building in Ghana by MoreCribs. Of course, there are challenges. We cannot roll out such an endeavor without challenges. So there are challenges. The real estate development is bedeviled with several challenges: high cost of living, high cost of housing, because the materials that we're using sometimes are very expensive and they are imported. And there's, state funding, yes, it is there, but it is insufficient. Inadequate access to credit facility is not very welcoming as far as the real estate market is concerned. And the amazing and interesting thing is that non-Ghanaians who are outside are now getting into this area because they are seeing what is coming up. So the competition is becoming very stiff. And then taxes are way up there. And there's not much data as well. So what has been the impact of the diaspora on the real estate market? Yes, I'll talk about this. The impact, the direct impact. Well, conservatively, we are told that the diaspora, the Ghanaian diaspora, is about 3 million. So that is a huge population. And I just chanced on some information that I read, and remittances from this number is virtually putting Ghana as the number one, the Ghanaian diaspora as the number one when it comes to remittances into Ghana. And a lot of this is going into the real estate market, either building for themselves or buying buildings and stuff like that. And in terms of their impact, they also maintain a strong connection with their home country, even though they're outside. In fact, some people make either an annual visit or a biannual visit. And in all those cases, they come and then they impact the industry. We have also the diaspora very strongly involved in capital and investment in the real estate industry. In fact, some data, which I have, unfortunately, I don't have it here, is indicating that currently the number of people who are buying residential houses and then commercial houses are the diaspora. The numbers are just going up way beyond, people's expectations. So it tells you what is happening currently. And there's capital and investment largely also going into, I mentioned that property purchase and then financing of development projects. And then the influx of capital is also helping to fuel and grow the industry that we are looking at. And even more significant as the kind of redefinition that we're given to the real estate landscape in Ghana. It is because the diaspora are contributing significantly to the types of homes that we're putting up now, the office building, and the kind of new age property types that they desire. It may be because of the kind of engagements that they've had elsewhere, and they want that reflection also in Ghana. And then another key thing is that diasporans have a preference that is redefining the market, especially for high quality and energy efficient buildings. This is so critical because if we can build houses that will make us use less energy in Ghana, then the better for us, because utility bills are just going way up and all that. So this is one preference that the diaspora is pushing, which makes it a very good area to look at. And then in terms of the demand, they are demanding more high-end properties, including luxury apartments and gated communities, because of the kind of exposure that they've had. So how does MoreCribs come in all this? Well, there's something that I put here, but I think it's already been shared, so I would move on. But I would want to talk about the bridging role that MoreCribs plays in all this. Investing in the real estate industry involves a lot: purchase, management, sale, rental of estates for profit. There's a legal aspect. There are all kinds of things in there. And if you want to go in, you have to go in as an entrepreneur or an investor. And this is actually shaping, the landscape, which I mentioned earlier, of the industry. But before you do that, MoreCribs can handhold you for you to understand the geomorphological and geographical features of the kind of investment that you want to put in place. And that will be critical to your success. We would not, for instance, put you or direct you into an attractive property that has all the specs that you probably may be looking for and makes a lot of financial sense, but yet sits in a dangerous flood zone or even an earthquake zone. MoreCribs would just direct you appropriately on that. And then again, in the bridging role, we have data and then information. So we gather this to inform you as an entrepreneur or an investor, so that when you are seeking for information about a possible location, a possible area, the potential for investment and property, or you want to be part of something, MoreCribs stands in to help you with that. And so therefore, we would help you, for instance, in locating your property or buying property or putting up property in an area that is safe for you as far as residence or business is concerned. And it is important that anytime you buy or you're going to buy a property, you look at the records, existing records, and then also even the pricing history. And that is the hand-holding effort that MoreCribs comes in to give you. If you are a smart real estate investor and you want to have a good understanding of how properties and investments are doing in specific localities, we are the experts that would handhold you to doing that. So we talk of the silver bullet that the MoreCribs have. And what's the silver bullet? We have the capacity to direct you to buying and rehabilitating property, investing in rental properties, investing in commercial properties, buy and sell, recreational facilities, diligence in property acquisition, and then even property management. If you have property and you want us to help you in the management of that, we are best placed for that. And then also, we will help you to build to rent. There are other areas that I've not included here, which I've spoken of, including rentals and personal properties that you want to put up. In all that, MoreCribs stands to deliver on that, because MoreCribs stands for excellence, and we are excellent in what we repeatedly do. It is a habit as far as we are concerned, and it is an act that we undertake. And that is why Aristotle said that we are what we repeatedly do. Excellence then is not an act, but it is a habit. And that is the hallmark of MoreCribs as far as the real estate market is concerned. And I just want to say thank you for listening to me, and Medase. It's the same. Thank you, Maxi and Medase. Same thing.
Thank you
I'm
so
done.
much, Papa Bartels. This was excellent, so insightful. But I'm so eager to ask you one question I put down, and I'm very excited to hear your response about this. And my question for you before I ask everybody is, what are key policies and incentives you would recommend to attract more individuals from the diaspora to invest in Ghana? What do you think we can do to attract diasporas to come and invest in Ghana?
You mean as government or people in the real estate industry?
People in the real estate, yes.
Number one, I think that we should have flexible terms of payment. It is so important. I have engaged with some of the real people in the real estate industry, and sometimes, they don't have the appropriate terms for people to come in. And I'm just glad to say that that is what MoreCribs, is positioned to do. We have flexible terms that can, help people to get into the industry. And then, like I said earlier on, if you're a novice in the industry, we can handhold you, share the legal aspects of the real estate industry, even with the design concept, how you want to put up your building. I mean, there's so much more as far as MoreCribs is concerned. And so I would say that if you want to look into that industry, the best place or the best people to contact would be MoreCribs.
Papa Cole could not have said it any better. It's very important, and we can see that MoreCribs, we are here for you each and every day, and we are here to help you build your dream home one brick at a time.